want young people to be a component in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, which imagine if a generation like ours, in 15 years today, they had the experience of being in the ground, contributing to no poverty, to clean water and sanitation. In 15 years, they're going to be presidents, CEOs, directors, and they would have had the experience of what is to have a better world, what is to provide young people to a better experience. And as they say, we leave no one behind. So young people is the one that needs to take the hand of another person, bring it to the ground, and contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals.
And you've been quoted as saying that we enable young people to see the world, make a real difference, and discover what truly matters to them. And so often in the work that I do with young people around the world, that's the first thing that I hear is, I don't know how to find my passion, I don't know how to turn that into action. So how do you help young people find what matters most to them?
So, as AIESEC is a leadership development organization, we provide young people the opportunity to discover themselves through different experiences, mainly in global environments or just volunteering in projects. So it could be that I find a project that I like because I am really passionate about zero hunger, so I go as volunteer and I contribute there, and then I found that, okay, I really like this part of my life. But it can also be a really simple action as taking one of our surveys, that is the Youth Speak survey, that actually we closed 15 days ago, and we gathered more than 160,000 responses from all around the world.
Wow.
The survey asks questions as, do you think the world is going to be in a better or worse place in 15 years? When you encounter that kind of question in a survey, it makes you think, yes, it's going to be better or not? What I'm going to make that happen? And also ask you then, what is the most pressing issue in your society? So I might see the world in a better place, and now I understand what is the most pressing issue. So I am checking what are those steps that I need to do as a person to get there. So through those questions, and then offering the people an opportunity to take action over those, let's say, issues, young people discover what they want, and AIESEC is just a platform for them to take action, which in the end is what we want.
Which is incredible. So now, collecting all the voices that you've collected up until this point, what are some of the big issues that you are finding young people are saying, this really matters to me?
So the top SDG for young people around the world is SDG number 4, quality education. That is top 1. And top 2 is no poverty. So those are the issues that young people want to take action right now. But something really interesting that we saw in our survey is that more than 60% of young people, they don't know what the SDGs are, which also says there's a huge action that we need to take first in letting everyone know that there's already a plan for a better world. That's the first step. And then we also ask them, who has more power to influence society? So government is first place with 33%, but then in second place, youth-led organizations. So young people actually want to take the lead, but they also recognize that we need to let everybody knows what they can do. As you were saying, I don't know what I'm passionate about, so help me, and that's what AIESEC is there.
So let's go to education.
Yep.
What are some ways that anybody who's listening to this today, if they said, me too, I'm behind number 4, what are some ways we can all get behind quality education?
So for quality education or for any SDGs, AIESEC creates different spaces for young people to contribute. One of them is, for example, Youth Speak forums. They happen all around the world all the time. For example, last week we hosted 5 global Youth Speak forums in different regions around the world: Colombia, Bulgaria, Ivory Coast, Egypt, and China. More than 1,500 young people were there creating projects with the Asian Development Bank, with the United Nations Habitat, with Electrolux, with HP. And those projects are youth-led projects that then young people will take forward and implement. So AIESEC create the space for young people to put their ideas there, but then create those actions. And you can also go into AIESEC.org and then see all the opportunities that we have, more than 60,000 around the world.
It's amazing.
And a young person can, okay, I'm interested in quality education. They look at all the projects that we have all around, they click there, and then they can volunteer in those projects. So it's not only about raising awareness or understanding what to do, it's about taking action. And as young people, the world in 15 years is going to be the world where we're going to be living in. So if we don't take action now, we might not have a world tomorrow.
And I think that's a great point. And we were just interviewing Peter Backer, who's the president of the World Business Council for the SDGs. And we were saying that oftentimes people will say, I'm just one voice. So how would anybody listen if it's just me in the corner? But the truth is, when everybody speaks up together, change can happen. So to the people who may be intimidated by this long list, what do you want to say to those people of any age?
So I think one of the first things that as AIESEC we need to do is how do we translate the SDGs first into a youthful language? Because if you tell a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, these are the goals, they don't understand what they are, but we translate it to them first, so then they say, okay, these might be part of my life, and now I can take action. I think it's really important for young people to don't feel that they are alone, because that's the power of social networks now. You raise your voice on Facebook and you get 2,000 likes. What if you start raising your voice around issues that matter to you and you start finding all those other people that matter, that also care about that issue? So what we have seen, for example, in our Youth Speak Forum in Bulgaria, Facebook Live started that day, and we say, oh, let's give it a shot. Let's see how it works. We put it live, and more than 10,000 young people from around the world were there, just understanding what the SDGs were. And that is showcasing that young people actually want to take action. That, yeah, maybe my voice doesn't matter, but when I start seeing that a lot of people is there, I'm going to join that movement. And that's what the SDGs are a calling for young people, for businesses, and for the public sector to all join together and don't feel alone. So, yeah, it's going to be a hard road, but if you don't start, no one's going to start. And then more people will join you. And that's what we have seen in Youth for Global Goals. We started, and now we have more than 10 organizations around us mobilizing young people. And it's going to be more and more every time.
And what goals are you taking on personally?
So as a Colombian, peace really touches me because we're really close to signing finally the peace in my country, which means that this young generation will be the first one that don't grow in a war, in a conflict, which gives a lot of opportunities for young people. So as a Colombian, that one. My daily life is more about partnerships for the goals, as I'm all the time trying to talk to organizations for them to activate more young people. And in the end, that is what I'm here. I'm here to make not only the United Nations, but the corporate sector, what are you doing for the Sustainable Development Goals to be achieved through young people? Because they are going to be the leaders of the organization tomorrow. So you better have them already built around this mindset that it's always about sustainability. It's always about achieving a better world.
And before I open it up to questions, is there anything else that you would like to add?
I think we cannot be shy in raising our voice right now. Social networks are there. There's a lot of organizations that allow us to take action. So it's not only about AIESEC, it's not only about the United Nations, but it's about the daily actions that we take as well. So it's as simple as water, clean water and sanitation. You don't need a mega project to impact that. You just need to let people know that you need to wash your hands before cooking so the kid that is going to eat that food doesn't die of dysentery. So simple actions are the ones that are going to get us to that better future. And it starts by being super conscious of what I need to do today, every day, and then in 15 years, not only the world will change, but I'm going to change. And that is the journey that I need to take.
And to be a change maker, it doesn't always require you to be the loudest person in the room and for you to be starting the company, but you can be a smart consumer and an educated consumer that makes smart, healthy choices and inspires someone else to do the same, which is amazing. Thank you so much. Are there any questions that we can take from anybody? Sir, do you want to take my microphone? Just this way, it's captured.
Yes, my name is Dr. Marcus, and I'm with Cattle Community Advocates and Development in Brooklyn. I deal with a lot of youths, and you speak about the connecting with the youths, and I think the question was asked, how do you connect with the youths? Now, we just had a conference last week at National Action Network where we had a lot of over 300 to 400 youths at the convention, and they were all into the technology. And I just wanted to know from you, what are the ways you see fit that would be able to bring more diversity and also more youths, especially in communities of underprivileged communities, more involved in what we are doing here?
I think there's a really, so I will take it from two ways. I think there's a really powerful tool that is stories, that when you create a story and you tell it to young people, but it's a youth-to-youth story, young people relate better. And I say this because we were having a project in Laos around education. So the government was trying to understand what young people perceives in their education system, but young people was really afraid of telling the government about it. AIESEC came into play, and we started to run a youth-to-youth survey and a youth-to-youth research. And young people started to talk about it. They started to talk to us. And then the education system was able to change. So I think the first thing is it needs to be youth-to-youth first, so they feel more comfortable. So that is the first thing that needs to be done. And the stories, like the simple story, is not about the super actor that everybody knows, but about that face that is making an impact in their everyday life, in their community. That's the story that I can relate to because I can be that person. So I will say those two things. And finally, I will also add involve them in the creation of the ideas, because when I'm involved, then it touches me. So I was part of that idea. I want to make that idea happen. So I involve them in the process. And young people is not constrained by anything. So they will have the most crazy ideas, the most beautiful ideas, and those are the ideas that will get us to that place.
Okay, great. No fear.
Yeah. No fear.
Anything is possible, which is the best part. Madison?
Thank you. So I'm Madison Salters from the Toolbox. What I'm wondering is, you were mentioning social media and the power of social media to really connect youths to each other as a community. My question is, there's been a lot of talk around hashtags and the fact that there's a lot of hashtag activism, but does that really lead to anything? One of the main roadblocks in hashtag activism is people don't know what to do after using the hashtag. So bringing people together on social media through hashtags like Ice Bucket Challenge or Trees for Change or whatever it is, how do you give youth the tools to take that into reality?
So I think more than on the side of youth, it's on the side of the organizations that are driving the hashtag. Like, if the goals are for everyone, why everybody has a different hashtag? The first step should be all of us uniting, because in the end, it's not what the UN is doing or the European Union is doing. It's about what we are all doing. So I think the first step is for all the organizations to actually step up and have one hashtag. The second one is hashtags and social media. Most of the time are just about calling people or about a story that ends there. But when you have a hashtag, I will recommend to also make a call to action. So what is what you're doing? So it becomes like, I tell you, so I did this today, what are you doing? And then you see that, and you might get engaged with what I did and replicate it, and then ask another person what they're doing. So it's just like the Ice Bucket Challenge kind of thing. Yeah, they were asking for an action to be done, and then it replicated really fast. So I think a call to action, and young people, it's all about action. You don't see young people just sitting there talking because they get frustrated at that. So I think it's more about calling them, like, okay, this is what you're doing, showcase it, and call more people, and that's the movement that is needed now. So I will say that those are the two things that we need now.
So our call to action to end would be to learn more. Thank you so much. Our call to action would be to learn more about the SDGs, find a place where you can get involved, and if you're currently involved, maybe find someone around you that you could sit down with and educate that person about what you are passionate about. Maybe you will inspire them to be passionate too. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. That's all the time we have left for our time together, but we are going to send it back to the chamber.
Bye.